Hey guys, Erik Kyle here, publisher Great Lakes Scuttlebutt Magazine, and I'm excited to be joining you today from our Zoom studios here in Toledo, Ohio. I've got a very special guest with us today. David Kennedy is with BoatUS, a very well-known and trusted name in the marine space. I wanted to just talk to David a little bit today about what's going on out there in the marine space. It's a bit of a crazy world right now, and BoatUS has always got some great information for us boaters. So, David, how are you doing today, sir?
Very good, Eric. Thank you. I appreciate the chance to come and visit with you. And I'll have to fess up, I'm an Ohioan too, originally from Dayton. So.
Oh, fantastic. So you've been out on the Lake Erie waters. I
have. And Great Lakes St. Mary for that.
Ah, probably caught a walleye or two up here yourself, didn't you?
Yep, exactly.
Good. So, David, what is your title with BoatUS? What do you do there?
Sure. I am the manager of government affairs, so I run our government affairs program. One of the founding principles of BoatUS was the representation of boaters, and I have the privilege of doing that for our 700,000 members nationwide. So, and many of them in the Great Lakes. I was trying to find out how I was trying to do a quick ad on it. We've got a lot of members up there.
That is an awful lot of boaters. So during this time of crisis that we're going through and so much uncertainty that's out there, we're trying to deal with the government and the boating community on a very kind of fragile basis. Can you update us as to what's going on right now with our boating lifestyle? Can we go out and enjoy no matter where we're at, or what do we need to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a fluid situation, an evolving situation. I mean, that's nothing that people don't know out there. And we really have seen it move forward. The good news, or the semi-good news, is we've had a lot of the impacts here early before boating season kicks off in a lot of the country. But we really see it varying depending on your location. So sort of the most restricted areas, my three that I always list are Washington State, Michigan, and Maryland. And actually, Washington State and Michigan have since eased up somewhat. Maryland, where I keep my boat, that's right there, we're still restricted from recreational boating. And that's really where the action has been at the state level, and even down to the local level. In Florida, we saw it driven very much at the county level, where there were more restrictions in the southern part of the state, where they were having a greater impact from the virus and the potential for spread. But again, those things are easing and change all the time, and so that's why it's very important for boaters to stay up to date on what's happening on when they're going to go in any one particular area.
So, David, just because boating is allowed in your state or your county or in your area, that doesn't necessarily mean that we can go back to practicing our lifestyle as we normally would. There are some new rules and restrictions that we should be guided by to be responsible boaters in order to make sure that we don't add to any further complications down the road from this pandemic.
Yeah, that's, I think, a good thought. And I think, boaters, like any other activity that we're going to be taking up right now, it's going to be incremental. I had it described to me as, we're not going to throw a switch, we're actually going to turn a dial. And so we believe, and BoatUS believes, that boating activities, or certain boating activities, can be done in a way that is consistent with the social distancing criteria that we see out there now. So this means, you were not necessarily going to raft up in a big crowd, but going out with members of your household, folks that you've been sheltering in place with, and being careful when you go out, and just thinking about all the stuff, just as you would when you go to the grocery store or anything like that, of wearing a mask when it's appropriate, being careful about what surfaces you touch. And that, I think, is going to make it possible. And I think a concern we've had is that if people are not really there, that it's not visible that boaters are doing it, that's when we're going to see more restrictions put in place. So the actions of any one individual is going to have an impact on all of us. And I think that we need to make sure we're being visible about that, and that we're really trying to meet these the new criteria that we're living with.
And the new normal that we emerge into as we come out of the COVID-19 outbreak here in the spring anyway, will be just some really simple common sense stuff. You know, the things that we've been hearing over the last couple of months about keeping good, safe social distancing. There are specific guidelines for certain states about staying 50 feet away from another vessel. How many people can be in a launch ramp at one time? It's just one boat at a time. How many people can even be on your vessel at a time? But this will end. At some point, in hopefully the not too distant future, we will be able to get back to boating as normal. Putting as many people as we'd like on the boat, putting as many people at the launch ramps as we like on the boat. But it's just not the time right now to do that because, as you said, we don't want to have one bad apple spoil the bunch.
Yeah, and you know, for BoatUS, what we've really been advocating for, and this has been one of the challenges, is where to actually to who to talk to. So we've focused our efforts at the state level. So we reached out to the National Governors Association, which it happens that the governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan, is the chairman of that. The vice chairman of that is Governor Cuomo of New York. So two people who have been very visible on this issue broadly, and really urge them that whatever they do, they should treat recreational boating as they would treat any other recreation, you know, golfing, all those other activities. Whatever makes sense for those is going to make sense for boating. And that we also really do think that the nature of most boating activities lend themselves well to that kind, you know, that distancing that we think we're going to be living with for some time.
Well, let's not forget the therapeutic value of going boating. My God, man, whenever I'm out on my boat, I've got the biggest smile the whole year as I'm crashing through the waves, enjoying myself, going to my favorite fishing hole. This is definitely psychologically a great thing for people to do, especially when you've been cooped up all winter long and restricted to only being in your home, not being able to go out and enjoy any type of activity. So when you can go boating, the therapy value of that is tremendous.
Absolutely. Yep. Very good. We had a great article in our the BoatUS magazine a little while back about just it's been proven that being on the water is actually good for your mental health. It's the actual studies. It's a few issues back. So.
Yeah, I don't really need therapy. I need a boat.
Yeah, exactly.
So, David, I'm curious, is there anything else that's going on out there in the boating world that we should keep top of mind other than what's going on with COVID-19 and our emergence from this pandemic?
Sure. So that's you know, one of the things that BoatUS does is we're always paying attention to these issues. We've actually just had one emerge this week. Some people may remember from a few years back, there was a company that was proposing a new satellite cell phone service. It was called Light Squared. They've changed their name now to Legato. And only problem with that was it had the potential to really interfere with the GPS signal. So BoatUS and a number of other groups who really depend on accurate navigation signals didn't think that was a good idea and were successful in rolling that back. It turns out they've come back again. There was just an order that came out for the FCC that could potentially allow them to begin operating. We're analyzing that as well, but there's a number of groups that are raising concerns. So that's one to watch out for going forward. It's something that BoatUS is engaged in. We continue our work on just the things day to day. Some of people may be familiar with the Sport Fish Restoration and Boating Trust Fund. This is the fund that we get our fuel tax dollars in and the tax that you pay on fishing equipment, and then goes back out to all the fishing and boating programs that we like: habitat restoration, boat ramps, the docks for cruising vessels, the transient docks, vessel pump outs, things like that. So that program needs to be reauthorized. It expires in September, happens about every 5 years. We've been working for its reauthorization. And I anticipate that will be at part of whatever infrastructure bills get done. So day to day, BoatUS is here in Washington. We pay attention to what's happening out in the States and really making sure that voters' voice is heard on the policy issues that matter to them.
You really do have a wealth of information that boaters can use. Where can we go online to find out all the different activities that BoatUS is involved in, and indeed be able to get in touch with you guys if we want to share any of our own concerns or information?
Sure. No, that's absolutely. So if there's always BoatUS.com. Now that focuses on a lot of the services, but then we also have our advocacy.boatus.com, and I'll get you that link to include in this. And that's really where we keep sort of the comments and the letters and things like that. And then when there is a call to action on something, on a legislation or a regulation, we'll put it up on there. People who are members of BoatUS, that they authorize us to do it, we'll send out action alerts when there's a chance to speak up on a particular issue in an area. So that's one of the benefits of membership, of being a BoatUS member, is that you get that information if that's something that you want.
Outstanding. So some of the latest scuttlebutt that I heard about, maybe you can verify or deny this, but apparently the 5G network that's coming out, which is 100 or 1,000 times stronger than the 4G network, actually will be a detriment to people with the COVID-19 outbreak. Did you hear any scuttlebutt about that, or is that all just myth and rumors?
Yeah, that's one I had not heard. No, it's I'd check my sources on that one.
Yeah. It seems like there is a whole bunch of fear mongering going on out there, especially from levels that are much beyond our small media outlet here in the Great Lakes. So be careful with your information. I've always found that BoatUS's information is very accurate, very true, and factual. And for that, David, we greatly appreciate it. I want to thank you again for your time today. And if there is any other information that you'd like to get out there, we'd like to check back with you every so often, do some continuing updates. And David, thanks so much. And we'll see you out on the water, my man.
Great. Thanks so much, Erik. I appreciate it.